Let the millennial do it.
Just right here.
Okay, so we're out on the PCT now, only at about the second mile. It's a really nice trail so far, but makes me think back a little bit on our weekend. We flew into San Diego on Thursday, and Money Honey and I spent the weekend touring in San Diego. You know, we ended up doing things like Midway, the aircraft carrier, and then we went to like Little Italy and the gas lamp district. On the Monday, or no, on Saturday we ended up going up to Lake Elsinore. So in Lake Elsinore we saw a lot of the poppies in bloom, really bright yellows, some oranges and purples. It was really pretty. And then we went over to Palm Desert and saw our friends. We stayed the night with Keely, Ben, Augie, Nils, and Quentin. A shout out to them. I had a great time. Thanks for hosting us. And then we ended up at a trail angel in San Diego named Scout and Frodo. And they took care of us last night, fed us dinner and breakfast, gave us some great knowledge about the trail, and brought us to the trailhead. And it was really interesting getting to see the monument, and then all looking over to Mexico, actually touching it. It was all pretty cool. And now it's a beautiful day for hiking, and the scenery is pretty flat, but I know it's going to get a lot more interesting along the way. I'm at about mile 12 right now, coming down into Hauser Creek Canyon, and you can see where I'm going to go. I'm going to go right along the road, come up to the top, switch back up the ridge and over the top to Lake Moreno.
When I got to Lake Moreno, I went to the malt shop for food and resupply with my friends Edwin, Ian, and Adrian, who I'd met on trail that day. And the next morning got their famous breakfast burrito. It was awesome.
Starting out day 2 out of Lake Moreno. It's about 45 degrees. I don't even think it's that. It's probably like 42. Real smooth trail. Hiking with Edwin, you see up there. And back behind me, Ian and Adrian from New Orleans. Real cloudy day so far, and I think I'm gonna have my rain gear on for a little bit for the cold, and it's supposed to rain a little today. Who would guess in the desert it's gonna rain? First stream crossing on the PCT, pretty simple one. This is the PCT near mile 25. It's supposed to be in the desert, but we're close to a stream, so there's a lot of vegetation, big trees, and it is really pretty here right now. Ridge that looks out over this valley is just covered with wildflowers. Really pretty. We're now entering an area that says
storm front rolled in
unexploded
about 1
military
o'clock and the
ordnance.
wind really picked up.
We have to make sure we stay on the trail. I didn't expect this hazard. Well, the bad weather finally hit that they were forecasting. It's been raining, It's all foggy and probably about 40 degrees. Winds are about 20 miles an hour, so hasn't been a great hiking afternoon. You can see there's no views, there's just a lot of fog. Here we are approaching Mount Laguna at 6,000 feet, and we're in the high desert. We have all these pine trees and shrubbery. It's about high 30s, winds blowing about 20 miles an hour. So it's and raining, so it's a little cool right now. Don't have to worry about overheating. So last night, spent the night in Julian with Money Honey. We had a nice night in a hotel and got a chance to eat in town, take a shower, warm up a bit. It was pretty cold from the rain and the wind all day yesterday, but the shower took care of that. Today, looking really nice. It's already much warmer than yesterday. It's already about 40, and the trail is really nice and beautiful so far. So it should be a great day. In the high desert climate, pretty dry, but definitely enough moisture to grow pine trees. View about 4 miles out of Lake Morena, looking down over the lower desert. We're probably at about 4,000 feet now. Just gorgeous today. So again, you got to be really careful as you're walking here. It gets pretty steep drop-offs to the side. You got to make sure you're watching where you're going, or you'll come up to a cliff like this and you could go right over the edge. Long way down. First view of the mountains. Mount San Jacinto is one of those white peaks up there. We'll be there in about 10 days.
It's just so simple. Tons of calories.
This is Ian making a peanut butter Pop-Tart sandwich.
Wait, here we go.
And how is it?
Oh, fabulous.
This is the water source at the Pioneer Picnic area. You can see the dead moss in it. It's kind of a brown dirt color, but it's the only water source for the next 8 miles. So you got to filter it and drink it. The good news is it comes out clear out of my Sawyer squeeze filter. So made camp at mile 63 on the third night and wanted to show you what it looked like setting up camp. First the tent goes up and it gets staked down and all set, and then I unload my pack and put everything inside so then I can deal with it there. It's amazing with all the water and rain that has come in the desert this year how green it is, but also all of the flowers that are out here. There are literally hundreds of different varieties. There are yellow poppies. There are these little purple flowers all over the place. There were bunches of orange ones, and then I'm not sure what kind of cactus it is, but there's this cactus that has this huge white flower growing out of the middle of it. It's just amazing what you can see out here. The 4th day trek into Julian is just about over now. We've done about 14 miles. It's almost noon. We started out at our campsite, which was down in a ravine. It was pretty cold, maybe high 30s. Then we summited, and the views into the desert were magnificent. Just gorgeous. Then we climbed down through a lot of flowers, and you could see them. Lots of different colors, lots of different cactus, prickly pears that were almost in bloom. And now we've kind of hit the desert floor, and it's a totally different environment. We'll be in Julian in another hour, and it'll be time to get some pie at Grandma's. Okay, so we've been hiking for 5 miles today, almost 2 hours. Didn't have a lot of water last night, unfortunately. We had to camp dry, the creek was dry. But at 5 miles, there was supposed to be a water cache and a tank with water in it that you could filter from. Well, unfortunately, we just got there, and this is what it looks like today. It's completely empty, except for this one bit of green slimy water, and there's nothing coming out of the tank. The pipe's empty, so it looks like it's going to be another dry 8 miles till we get into Julian. So I'm approaching the famous highway underpass near mile 77. It's where a lot of hikers hang out and stay during the heat of the day. It's about 90 degrees here today, and you can see a bunch of hikers here. Gotta wait for the heat to break, get some water at this water cache, and then a lot of them head out later. So it's day 5 now, and I'm in Julian, and I'm feeling really good. My legs feel good. I've taken a 0-day no hiking today. Funny story, on the way into Julian, we were picked up, Edwin and I were picked up by his friend Blakely and Martin, and on the way in, Blakely wanted to stop at a winery and do a wine tasting. So I didn't think that on the trail I was going to do something like that, but it turned out to be a great surprise, and was a lot of fun.
I'm Randy. I'm the assistant winemaker here at the Julian Winery, and we have 9 wines to taste today.
I'm headed out tomorrow morning. I've got to do my first hitchhike 12 miles back to the trail, and we'll start the next leg of this adventure. Thanks for watching.